Hi YouTube, this is Retta. I just wanted to do some tarot talk real quick. It's no readings right now. I have some readings, some private readings today, but I wanted to like many of you guys know, my tarot collection is vast. I have many decks, and one of the reasons why I started doing readings on YouTube is to utilize my collection and really start, because before I was kind of just stuck on my favorite decks, and I would use those constantly in my private readings. So I decided when I did these readings here on YouTube that I'm going to test out some of my decks and my connection with the decks. And so, you know, the ones I really don't connect with. And when I say I don't connect with them, it has nothing to do with the art or the deck itself. It's just that my energy and the deck kind of don't mesh. When I like to look at a card, when I have a deck that really connects with me, it feels like an old friend. When I look at the cards, it just speaks to me. And sometimes when I do use a deck, the cards like that I have no connection with, it's like the abyss. It's like it's like I'm not getting anything. It's like pulling teeth. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not seeing anything. It's like how when I try to read for myself, it's just a blank state. And that's how some cards' energies are for me. So with me doing readings with you guys here on YouTube, it gives me an opportunity to get my decks out and, you know, really utilize my collection and really, use my decks and really build a connection with them. So I have decided in doing this that some decks, after I try to give them a real chance, I don't even know, sometimes you guys might even notice when I'm reading, and you'll notice like me using a new deck that I haven't used before, the reading doesn't flow as well as some other readings, and that's because I'm using a new deck and not like an old faithful. Like one of my old faithful is the Paladina Tarot. I love that. This is like one of my favorite decks, but I have the smaller version. It's the Swan deck, but I have the Tarot of the Bastard, which is almost similar. Even though I'm just now starting to use this deck more. I used to use the smaller version that I have of the Tarot of the Bastard a lot. So I'm utilizing this, and it feels like home. I have like the Antiquarian Tarot, which this is like one of my favorite decks to do, especially like past lives or talking with spirits, people who have passed. This deck is so special to me. This is like one of my cherished decks, the Antiquarian. She has a newer one, a smaller one. I had the smaller one to this one, and the deck wanted me to give it to someone. So I gave it to one of my friends that needed it at the time. My deck the energy kind of spoke to me. And so, but then I was like, oh my God, I need to have a backup. So I went and bought the new version that she has of this deck. There's only like a couple of cards that's changed, and it's smaller, and I just don't connect with it at all. Even though most of the cards are the same, everything is just those couple of different changes kind of messed up the energy with me and that deck. And I've tried to read. I might try to do some more readings with it to give the thorough. But what I really want to do is to give back to my subscribers. So when I feel like I've given a deck a really thorough reading, or trying to really work with it, and it's not working, I would really, some of my subscribers, I would, like to gift them to you guys. So I'm in the process of going through, so I'll let you guys know. It'll be like a drawing or whatever. I'll have like a drawing, like a giveaway, and I will gift you these decks, so right now there's a couple on the fence. Um, and I spend a lot of money on my tarot decks. I love them. But so look for that in the future. I'm not saying that'll happen anytime soon. Maybe, you know, when I hit like 1,000 subscribers or so, I'll start the process of making way for new things. Because even though sometimes it's good to have all these decks, if I don't really connect with them, what's the point? You know, they're not going to be used. They're just taking up space. I've tried this deck. It's a beautiful deck. I've tried to use this deck so many times, and if sometimes, I think even the other day you guys see me and I kind of like tried to use it and then I just put it back. For some reason, this deck doesn't really, it's a beautiful deck. It's the Sacred Rebels Oracles. I do love Oracle decks, but for some reason I just don't connect. It's like pulling teeth when I try to read with this deck. It doesn't really just speak to my soul. It doesn't speak to my, you know, my higher, it just doesn't, I like decks, you know, that just speak to my soul, that even though that card is saying one thing, I'm seeing a completely different thing. You know, I'm not one, I've always said, I'm not one with a stickler with card meanings. To me, that's just like a guide, you know. I like to, if I see a card and it might mean strength in one aspect, and I might see it completely different. And that's the beauty of tarot. It's an individual divination system, and you use it the way you want. So I think this deck is on the chopping block. And just to warn you guys, if you got, I do smoke, so so before you guys would want any of these decks to know, I do smoke. So some people are stickler, oh, I don't want decks, especially collectors. But I don't think most of you guys are collectors. I think you guys just love tarot or just getting into tarot. And I will cleanse each deck before I send them to you guys when I start doing the thing. So I'll cleanse them, and they'll be ready for you to imprint on them. But this deck is very beautiful. I almost cut it. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes when you alter the cards, it will change. Like, I didn't have any, one of my favorite decks is the Tarot of the Sweet Twilight. I had zero connection with that deck at all when I first opened it and took it out the box. But when, is it in here so you guys can see? I had no connection at all, yeah, with this deck at all. When I first received this deck, no connection at all. But when I cut the borders off, and I even colored the sides, but when I cut the borders off, this has became one of my, whoops, dang, they want to talk, they're kind of, energy is kind of, I haven't used it in a while. So this became one of my favorite decks. So don't always give up on a deck so easily. Try sometimes trimming. If a deck doesn't connect with you, try trimming the borders off, working with it some more. I was going to think about doing that with this deck, trying to, maybe if I took the borders off, maybe it will speak to me more. I haven't decided, but right now this deck is probably one on the chopping block. So when I do the giveaway, I'll do a couple at a time, or one at a time, and we'll see. I have a feeling like this is the first edition. This was an expensive deck because it was overseas. So this I might have to do this like on a higher giveaway or something. But I haven't connected. The cards aren't in here. But I'm going to try some more. I'm going to try to do a reading here on YouTube with it. And we'll see if I could even get through the reading with this deck. I might have to like switch cards in the mix. I've tried and tried, and it's a beautiful, beautiful deck. It's absolutely gorgeous. So just because it's my opinion doesn't mean that it's not a good deck. It wouldn't work for you. the images aren't beautiful. They are, you know, and they might work for you. But for me personally, and what's funny is the Wild Unknown is like, it really connects with me. But for some reason, and I kind of knew it when I looked at the cards before I bought them, but the tarot addict that I am, I just had to have the deck. And I really haven't utilized it because every time I look at the cards, it's just a blank. And that's not good. And I've tried. So I'm going to try some more with this deck before I officially put it on the chopping block. This one too. This is a beautiful Lenormand. I've tried. I have to admit, I haven't given this deck like a real fighting chance. I might have to. So I still have a few before I reach 1,000 subscribers. So maybe I'll try to utilize this more. But it's so busy. And even though it's a Lenormand deck, and it's like you're just supposed to know, like, okay, that's the cross, this is that, I still use like my second sight, and it's like too busy for me. I think also, so every time I've tried to grab this deck and use it, I've kind of grabbed it and then put it back. So I might try to use this. So this is on a definitely maybe too. I'm going to try it some more. Also the Cyril Marchetti Gilded Tarot. It's a beautiful deck. It's absolutely gorgeous, but there's like a real disconnect. And I tried to do that, use that deck with the ninth court reading, and it was just like such a disconnect. I think I even said it. Even though it's beautiful, it's absolutely gorgeous deck. It's just like, just my energy and that energy of that deck doesn't really merge. So that one. This deck too, I've tried it a couple of times, the Vanessa Tarot. I kind of love these little tins. You can throw them in your purse. You don't have to worry about your cards getting messed up, this and that. This is the cutest little deck, and I so want this deck to be in my collection. I so want it to. But it's like pulling teeth when I'm trying to read with it. And I think it's funny. I think I'm like a less is more now. I think before I used to like all the chaos in the cards, and now I'm starting to like a less is more feeling to the cards. I like less, you know, less chaos in the cards, less, you know, things to distract me. So this is, I'm gonna try to do some readings here on YouTube with it, and see how it goes. And if it continues, this will be on the chopping block too. And even this one, this is a very expensive deck. This is an absolutely gorgeous deck. Absolutely gorgeous deck. Very expensive deck from Baba Studios. Even though I do not care for the owners of Baba Studios because of personal reasons of dealing with her, I still think that they have a quality product. They have beautiful cards. I enjoy the images, and it broke my heart. I've tried to read with this deck so many times. I've tried, and look at these. These images are just so beautiful. I've tried and tried to read. I even have the book to go with it. I'm going to try to do some readings with it some more here on YouTube and see how it goes. But this one might have to go too. And you don't know how hard it is for me to get rid of decks, because to me, these are like my babies. These are like extensions of myself. I feel like each deck has a personality, and it's hard to get rid of them. It's like, and then I think about it for days. When I do let a deck go, I think about it for days. Like, should I have did it? You know, shouldn't I have not did it? So, you know, for me to gift these decks to my subscribers is a big thing. It's like giving a piece of my heart away. So, but only for you guys would I do that. So So this is one that it's definitely a maybe too. You might see me start trying to use this more because I'm going to try to really put them through their due diligence before I say, okay, I've tried and tried and I can't do it. I mean, I could sell the decks and I could trade them. But I would, I would rather they go to a loving home. Because like I said, they're like, they feel like my children. And me giving them away is like giving a piece of me away. So that's why I've been wanting to do a video like that, like this for a while now. So you're going to see me, when you see me use the cards, and I know sometimes when you guys are like, why isn't that reading going so smoothly? It's because I usually test new decks with you guys. The Paladina deck is now Old Faithful, but when I really started using it a lot, and it was in regards to this election, I really started using it around September and October, and it's became an Old Faithful for me. Like September and October is when I started using the new Paladina, and that's like one of my all-time like favorite decks now. Which is the Antiquarian Tarot, which is the same person who makes that Paladina Tarot. I don't really have a connection with the Antiquarian Tarot too. So I think this is a way for me to kind of purge. Oh my god, I don't want to get rid of my decks. But this is a way to kind of purge and a way for me to give back. And a way for me to bond with you, my subscribers. So that's all I wanted to talk about. I will let you guys know when things are, when I'm getting things ready to do a giveaway and stuff like that. So I want to thank you guys for subscribing and sticking through it. I know, some of my subscribers, we don't always agree on things, and that's the beauty of it. But, we all need to stay respectful and stuff like that. And I know my opinions are on the fringe a little bit. I'm not quite like all the other readers. And I don't want to be. I come from a different background than a lot of other readers. A lot of other readers are into this love and light and, all this stuff. That's just not me. I'm a realist. I call myself a conspiracy realist. I've always been in the conspiracy world. I always try to look at things in a different perspective. I don't believe everything that's shown to me without doing my own diligence. So that's just the person I am. So when I come to do a reading, especially in these politics, I kind of look at it in a 4D, 5D way instead of just like what they're actually showing. I don't take what they're saying out their mouth. Their words don't really get me. I want to see their actions. I want to see, behind the energy of their actions, the energy around the individual. Because a con artist is a con artist. They can tell you, whisper sweet things in your ear and still, take all your money. So, and you'll be happily giving it to them because they're good at that. They have the gift of gab. So, but I do enjoy, especially, I've really developed friendships, I believe, with a lot of my subscribers. I love interacting with you guys. And this is just a way for me to give back to you guys. So, alright, I'll talk to you guys later. I got some readings to do, and I don't think I'll be uploading any readings in the next few days. I think I uploaded a lot this weekend, so there's like 7 readings for you guys to go through and enjoy this weekend. And so that's neither here nor there. Alright, talk to you guys later. Bye.